Coming up next, Rated K, for kids by kids.
Attaboy. Whoa! Hey, let's go, guys!
Two streetwise guys punch their way to the top. The Nutcracker suite becomes a motion picture, and the chase is on for the boy who could fly. All on Rated K, for kids by kids.
Hi, I'm at Nespole.
And I'm Lakmini Besbroda.
And I'm Mark Shanahan. Welcome to the only movie review show just for kids.
What's this?
Wait, what is that?
What?
This.
This.
Oh, this is my map.
Yeah, but what about the orange little
What's it for?
flag?
You'll find out. Just stay cool. You'll find out about it later, okay? Just go into the first review.
Fine.
The Boy Who Could Fly is about a 14-year-old girl named Millie, whose father's just died. She, her brother, and her mother moved to a smaller house where they need to start a new way of life. They barely unpack before they realize that their next-door neighbor is very curious and not very shy.
Excuse me. These your groceries?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Geneva Goodman. I live down the street. I suppose you're going to go to Taft. I go to St. Monica's Catholic School. I suppose this is your Coke, too. We're going to be great friends.
But Geneva's not the only one who drops in uninvited. Next door, there lives a boy named Eric, who has some very strange behavior. Eric. How'd you get in here? It turns out Eric has some problems of his own. Ever since his parents were killed in the plane crash, he's been unable to communicate with anyone, living in his own world. He spends most of his time on the roof, pretending to fly, and he lives with his old, drunk uncle, who, as Millie finds out, is no help to him at all.
Oh, I was afraid he would fall and get hurt.
Afraid he would fall. Would you be afraid of a balloon falling? Or a bubble dropping? Oh, or a feather fluttering to the ground?
No.
There you go.
Did he tell you that Eric could fly?
Yeah. The only person who seems to really care is Mrs. Sherman, their teacher.
In fact, if it hadn't been for my support, the State Institute would have put Eric away long ago. And that can't happen, Millie. All the state people mean well, but Eric can't exist in that kind of environment. A while ago, his uncle went on a binge, and they did put Eric away for about a month. He got sick. Very sick. He was dying. No one knew why. but I was convinced that he had just given up. I promised them then that I would watch over him. But I can't be with him all the time. Anyway, I was hoping maybe you'd help.
Mrs. Sherman, I don't know anything about those kind of kids.
You don't have to. All you have to do is be yourself. Besides, what I saw out there, no doctor has ever been able to do with him. He was following you, mimicking you, wanting to be like you. Doctors haven't been able to get a word out of him. Maybe a friend could.
But the creeps of the state institution just won't leave Eric alone.
Hey, you kids, hold it right there. Hold it, wait. It's okay, little girl.
Can you really fly, Eric?
We'll find out what happens.
But can you guys imagine not being able to talk at all? I mean,
I couldn't do it. You should try.
Guys, let's be serious, right? This guy who played Eric, his name is Jay Underwood. He's 16 years old. And he had to express himself throughout the whole movie without talking at all.
Part of the thing with this kid is there's a possibility that he may be autistic. And one of the things with autism a lot of times is the kid or person is in their own world. And part of being in his own world is not communicating with other people. And with autistic kids, that is a trait that is sometimes carried amongst them. I met one kid when we were doing some character studies and stuff that was just like Eric within a class of autistic children. He just would not speak. I was with Nick Castle, the director, and we sat down. We tried to talk with him, and he was playing a computer, and that's all he did. He would not even turn to us, and it's a really weird feeling because you're going, what's wrong? Don't you hear me? You must hear me or something. But there was just no response.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that is.
All right, wait, I got a question, okay?
Okay.
The movie's called The Boy Who Could Fly, but do they actually fly in the movie?
Yeah, well, actually, they do fly in the movie, and they hook themselves up on wires, to go flying around all over the place.
That was, I think, the most difficult, even beyond, imagining the blue screen. It was, you're sitting up there on wires, and you're flying 50 feet above cement, and you're going, if these wires break, I'm going to die. And I was terrified out of my mind. Jay loved it. I think that's the only place we got into real arguments. Was he'd be going, "Oh, come on, Lucy, let's dance." And no, don't move. So that was the hardest for me.
Well, I don't think I did really much up there either.
Neither would I.
I really, really loved this movie. I mean, the acting was superb. The story itself was just great. It was really touching. I especially liked Eric's character. I mean, he didn't have the vocabulary that you and I have to talk about. He just had to express how he felt with his body and his face, which was a very hard thing to do. I think the message was saying that anything is possible if you try. I mean, it was very clearly stated, and I really agree with it in times. I really, really felt for the characters. I felt for Millie. I mean, she had no one else to turn to but Eric. I really loved the movie. It made my heart, smile. If my heart had a face, it would be smiling. I definitely loved it. Definitely, I would see it again.
Well, I don't know about this movie. I think this is the kind of movie, you love or you hate. And I hated this one a lot. I mean, the only good thing I can say about it was the relationship between Eric and Millie. That developed nice. But this whole concept of flying, I mean, it was just too corny. And the movie was just too predictable. I mean, I knew when I walked in there, okay, I know what's going to happen. Just didn't get to me. And because it was too predictable and too corny, I just didn't like it at all.
Well, I disagree.
Yeah, obviously just a little bit there.
But I felt so much for them. I mean, Millie, she helped this guy who had no one else to turn to. She risked everything. She really she made contact, she broke through the ice. I mean... Yeah,
but it was just too predictable,
It was such a good story, though. It's everything I like. And they did a great job, I thought.
Exactly. The problem is, this movie has either like or dislike. I mean, there's no, down the middle,
Yeah, that's true.
And, I mean, it just didn't work for me. That's why I gotta rate this movie a C for corny.
Well, I'm going to give it a K because I thought it was absolutely the ultimate stamp of approval.
All right, I got one final question, okay?
Sure.
All right, actually, this one's only for Lakmini, so don't feel too bad, okay?
Hey, no problem.
All right. If you could fly with Christopher Reeve in Superman or Jay Underwood in The Boy Who Could Fly, who would you choose?
Gosh, I don't know, because I used to be a Superman freak. I mean, you know, Christopher got those big blue eyes. Yeah, I used to love him, but, you know, he was such a stereotypical hero. He never really touched me the way that this guy did, so I would definitely pick Jay Underwood.
All right, there you have it. Jay, if you're out there, so fly with
Jay,
you.
fly with me any day.
Mark, I'm really sorry, man, but what's up with the
Yeah,
map?
please,
I'm going
come on,
crazy
tell us.
here.
The map,
Yeah.
okay.
Map,
All right,
finally.
you guys, I kept you in suspense
Yes,
long enough.
you
It's time now for the news. I'm going to tell you who is doing what and where they are, and maybe if you're in one of these states, you can find out what your favorite star is doing. Say hi. To begin with, in North Carolina, we have Ray Don Chong from Soul Man and Michael Keaton from Mr. Mom making Skip Tracer. And then up in Vermont, Harold Ramis from Ghostbusters is busy making Baby Boom. And a lot of baby movies are coming out here because in California, in LA, we have Kevin Bacon from Footloose and Elizabeth McGovern making She Is Having a Baby. And then in New York, we have Madonna. We all know Madonna. She's busy filming Slammer. And Cher is also there, without Sunny, filming Moonstruck. Now up in Toronto,
That big state
the
over
big
there.
one up there.
up in Canada,
Yeah.
they probably don't have TV there anyway. We have Matt Dillon filming The Big Town, and down in Houston, in Texas, we have who do we have, guys? We have C. Thomas Howell filming Tiger Tail.
Right.
And then again in LA, we have the Monster Squad in production. Hey, I don't know anything about that, but that's okay because I kind of like the name. Now in Arizona, last but not least, we have Mel Brooks, Daphne Zuniga from The Sure Thing, and John Candy from Splash and Volunteers, the big fat guy, making Spaceballs. Yes, Spaceballs. Okay, Spaceballs is about Captain Lone Star, a hero for hire who's roaming around the galaxy in his interstellar Winnebago
No way.
with his sidekick Barf, played by John Candy. Okay, Barf's a semi-human, semi-dog kind of guy. Can't wait to see that
That's
one.
the typical character for John Candy there.
Barf.
Fun, Mark. I like that.
That was cool, Mark.
I feel like a weatherman. We have a cold front coming in, partly
Hurricane
sunny
Milo.
in this area. Hurricane Milo.
When we come back, we're going to take a look at the motion picture, The Nutcracker.
Hey, you got a question about a movie or a movie star or even the weather? Well, write to Rated K, for kids, by kids, P.O. Box 909, Radio City Station, New York, 10101.
Hey, Mark, buddy, you don't look like a weatherman. They're old and they wear polyester suits.
Well, I'll try harder next time, Matt.
Rated K, for kids, by kids. We'll be back after these messages.
For years, adults have had their award shows to pick their favorite movies, their favorite records, and their favorite athletes.
Now it's kids' turn to pick their favorites as Nickelodeon announces Big Ballot, the first nationwide poll just for kids.
Big Ballot is where you pick your number one movie, your hit record, and your favorite athlete.
So tune in to Nickelodeon after January 18th for the big news on how to cast your vote and when to see the winners on the Big Ballot Show.
Nickelodeon's Big Ballot, a big idea whose time has come. Brought to you by Bonkers Chewy Candy and Post Cereal. You're watching Nickelodeon. Now back to Rated K, for kids, by kids.
Hi, welcome back to Rated K, for kids, by kids. Now we're going to take a look at another movie where no one talks. It's called The Nutcracker, the Motion Picture, and it's a film version of the famous ballet. It all starts at a big Christmas party that Clara's family has every year. They invite everyone they know, all the adults and all the kids. One of Clara's uncles, Eric Drosselmeyer, is this eccentric man who always brings the coolest presents. Well, this year he's brought her a wooden nutcracker that looks like a soldier, which she absolutely loves. The party ends and everyone goes home, and Clara has a dream that brings her and the nutcracker into a magical land of dancers. This was horrible. I would not recommend this to anyone. It was so different from anything else I've ever seen because it takes a lot of brain power to follow the story. It was really, really boring. I mean, it was just a bunch of dancers jumping around for 2 hours. And maybe if you're a ballet freak, you'll love it or something. I mean, there's a lot of nice dancing and nice costumes, but for 2 hours, I really couldn't sit through it because I really don't like ballet that much. But that's just me. But, I don't know, this isn't the kind of movie that you go to, you know, for fun because, I don't know, it wasn't really extravagant like the ballet should be because it was more, they didn't make it into that much of a movie. They made it into the ballet on film, so it really wasn't that exciting. I don't know, this is not the kind of movie that you go to and you open the papers with your friend and you go, hey, what's playing? Oh, we'll go see the Nutcracker, that'll be fun because this is going to bore you to death. Just don't go with this with your buddies for a good time.
Well, I agree. I would not take my friends to this one either. It just didn't work as a movie. It was just like the ballet. But, I mean, at least in the ballet, you get all dressed up and you really feel like something's happening in front of the stage. But here, it was just on film. It was too canned. I mean, the costumes were nice. The dancing was beautiful. Everything worked really nicely. But it just didn't make it as a movie. I wanted narration. I mean, there was no story. The story wasn't important if there was a story. And this is the type of movie that I would say, you know, Friday, you're sitting in bio class, you have this guy who really annoys you that sits behind you. He asks you, do you know of any good movies? Well, this is the one to recommend. I assure you, you'll get back to him.
I couldn't believe I sat through this whole thing. It has a story. It's really nice and everything. You know how you know.
Yeah, but who cares about the story?
Dancers.
Every dance is the same, jumping around,
jumping around. But I don't know. I thought it was really hard. You know what it's like? It's like eating health food because you hate it a lot, but you know it's good for you because the ballet is really cultural and everything.
Exactly.
I couldn't stand this. So.
That's why I want to give it a B, because I was bored.
And I'm going to give it a T for torture.
Mark, this movie sounded so bad, guys. I'm not even going to bother asking the final question.
The right choice.
There's nothing to say,
Go
man.
right into
There's nothing to say.
Which is Streets of Gold. We finally have a movie where everybody's talking. All
Yay!
right.
Yay!
Good job. Okay, Streets of Gold is about a Russian guy named Alec, right? And he comes over to America, but while in Russia he was a great boxer, but all he does here is like drink booze and get drunk all the time. So one night he goes to this neighborhood boxing match, you know, and he's getting really hyped for watching these young kids punching each other. So when he gets out into the street, he's really itching for a fight with one of the young boxers.
Standing, sitting, drinking, asleep. You cannot put a hand on me, drunk or sober. You have a very big mouth.
Getting ready to cross that line, my man.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. You cannot then spit on a good fighter.
Well, look here, Ivan. You come over here, and I'll spit you to death.
In America, everybody has a big mouth. So? And?
Okay. Look, go home.
Yeah, no one.
This guy's crazy.
Cool breeze.
Keep your feet on the ground.
Fight with the fist, and not with your eyes. Stand up on your back.
That's it, boy. Get that guy out of here.
What you doing protecting that team?
I'm protecting you.
So Alec decides that coaching is better than drinking, and he takes two promising fighters, Ronald and Timmy, under his wing and works them to the bone.
See you later. Tired? Good. Now we begin.
For Alec, training is a way to make himself into somebody again. For Timmy and Rollin, it's their ticket to getting out of the street. And even though Alex taunts them and teases them, they know that their work will pay off in the end.
Good. Your hands are getting better and better now. No more cupcakes. Golden hands, Timmy. You could have golden hands. And now, the head. We plan everything. Every second, every move, every round. We plan ahead of time. Think all the way through. All the way through. Please. Understand? Yes, sir.
Timmy's gonna take him out, man. He's gonna take him out. Yes. You know, okay, we've seen this movie before, right? In 4 Rockies, a Karate Kid, and any other takeoff on that. But I don't think it really matters in this one, because I like this movie a lot. I mean, you're gonna fall in love with one of these characters. I particularly like Alec a lot, and also Timmy. You're gonna like these guys. You're also gonna like these boxes. Boom, boom, boom. It's really hyper. You're gonna get into this. You're also gonna like the ending, like in all these movies. So if you like the Rocky movies, you're gonna love this one.
I was thinking the same thing. I walked through there thinking, uh-oh, another Rocky movie. But it really wasn't at all. I mean, they really concentrated on the relationships between the two characters, especially Rollin and Timmy. I mean, at first, these guys hated each other. I mean, they were at each other's throats. And you could feel the tension build. But finally, when they let themselves be friends, that's when the plot really got thick and everything. We started really feeling for their characters. I mean, these guys had no training, and finally they turned into professional boxers. And it just shows you anything is possible.
Sorry, guys, I can't agree with you. I've seen this movie so many times before that I'm sick of it. I don't know, I mean, there was some nice acting in there and some really good scenes that we saw, like in the clip when they're training. I mean, that's just about as good as it gets. But this movie's been done so many times before. The only thing I liked about it were the relationships between the characters. There were good ideas there. But it's just the script, which is so overused. I don't have to see a Rocky movie again. I don't know, I think maybe if Rocky hadn't been made, maybe I'd like it a little better. But I've seen this too many times before to really get into it.
But the thing is that Rocky did work, and people like to see that.
Yeah.
So that's why I had a good time. I hate boxing. I like this one. I hate boxing.
Well, I don't care if it's boxing, but man, I've seen this in karate. I've seen it in wrestling. I'm so sick of the final scene where they're all in the ring and they're always.
But you know, that's a lot of fun when you're sitting there, man. I mean, I want that to happen. I want.
But
that
it's so unoriginal now.
Well, you know, I mean, how much can you do on a movie like that? You know, I mean,
well,
it's
see,
a good
that's
movie,
it.
though.
You can do only so much, and
well,
I think
they
really
should keep
overdid
on doing it, because I will always like these movies.
That's why I'm going to give it an F for see it.
Yeah, I like this one a lot, too, so I'm going to give it a G for some good stuff.
Well, I don't like it, so I'm giving it a B for bag it.
Wait. I have one final question.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Well, who would you see this movie with?
Probably a good buddy. You know, a good friend of mine I could have a lot of fun at it with.
Well, I would see it with like a whole bunch of friends who are getting the spirit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who would I see this movie with? I wouldn't see this movie. So that answers that question. All right, and now it's time for Matt's favorite line. Matt's favorite line from Piece of Gold.
In America, everybody have big mouth.
Everybody have big mouth.
Even you.
Oh, everybody have big mouth, huh?
Anyway, here's what's coming out on home video this month. Space Camp is about a group of teenagers who go to a special camp that teaches you how to be an astronaut. But camp turns into a real-life experience when they're accidentally launched into outer space. Then there's A Gods Must Be Crazy, the story of an African bushman who leaves his tribe and learns all about the rational behavior of civilized man. And finally, Prince is at it again with his second movie, Under the Cherry Moon, about 2 musicians who try and charm the way through the French Riviera.
And now it's time to answer the viewer question of the week. We got a letter here from Beth Steiner from Athens, Ohio. So where's my map?
Oh, it's right here, man. Chill out. Here you go. Here you go, man.
All right, check it out.
Yeah, right.
Yo, Beth, where are you? All right, Athens, Ohio, okay? All right, Beth writes, Dear Rated K, I would like it very much if you could send me River Phoenix's address. I could really use it. I've seen Stand By Me 7 times, and River Phoenix is one of the best actors I've seen in a long time. You want it, you got it. And here it is. River Phoenix, care of Columbia Pictures, Publicity Department, 711 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10022.
I could really use that address. I should take it down.
Yeah, you could use it too, huh?
You know it all, Mark. How do you know?
Well, you know, I know everything. As a matter of fact, I know that right now it's recap time.
For Streets of Gold, Matt gave it a G for good stuff, Mark gave it a B for bag it, and I gave it an S for see it.
For Nutcracker, the motion picture, Lakmini gave it a B for boring, and I gave it a T for torture.
And finally, for The Boy Who Could Fly, I gave it a C for corny, and Lakmini gave it a K, the ultimate rating.
Wait a second, where is River Phoenix again? Which
give me my
publicity
math back.
department?
That's it for this week on Rated K, for Kids by Kids. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.